There is a place where the lost embers go. As their light begins to fade, Ember ran because standing still made them feel helpless. The wall glistened. The painting showed embers on a sacred journey. Ember felt so afraid and alone that it was a relief to find someone to talk to. Ember froze, almost too frightened to look away, when they noticed a small satchel. The satchel felt heavy. Ember looked inside. The statue shone brightly in the light. There was a symbol on the floor. There was a symbol on the floor. Ember noticed something wrong. There was a round space where something used to fit. To Ember's delight, the golden statue slid perfectly into place. Ember left, feeling sorry for the stranger now alone in the dark. The stairway opened into a dark forest. Ember could feel fear taking over. They'd washed up alone, somewhere very unfamiliar. Ember felt like they were being watched. The foxes howled into the night. The only reply was silence. The path was blocked. The path was blocked. As Ember approached, the flames seemed to call out. With a feeling like falling, the forest had slipped away. Ember felt lost in darkness and ruin. The caged flame stoked new hope in Ember. Hope was almost within reach. The flame spoke and Ember listened. The flame lingered ahead. Was it trying to escape? Or leading the way? The campfire flickered into life. The ghost spoke. Hope has returned to a forlorn. I will warm them until they choose to move on. Ember looked to the ghost for answers. This is a place between places, to travel through as your light fades. But none have passed on in a long time. The Forest King now holds us here, and those who linger will turn forlorn. Again that word, forlorn. The forlorn are those who lost their way along the path. If you find them, send them to me and I will guide them. I am just a guide along the way to fan the flame. So many lost embers have I seen, more than I could help. Ember thought of those they loved, those they'd left behind. There are others lost along their journey. Find them and I will guide them. Step backwards, little Ember. Look behind. Upon a small grassy cliff rests a forlorn. The ghost said, "Speak and I will listen." The Forest King watches the doors. The campfire will light the way. Find those who are lost. Bring embers to the fire. Travel wisely. Return if you have lost your way. The stranger said, "Take care of those you care about the most." The traveler spoke. "You ever had roast frog, friend? I miss a good roast frog. Oh, how they crackle." The stranger had been forgotten. They tried to follow as best they could. But no one heard them when they fell behind. The stranger had been forgotten. They tried to follow as best they could. But no one heard them when they fell behind. The stranger looked at Ember with surprise. "Someone came back for me. Thank you." The stranger looked at Ember with surprise. "Someone came back for me. Thank you." The traveler spoke. "I miss a good roast frog. Oh, how they crackle." Barely visible through the murky water was the shadow of something hiding, and on a small pier with barely a sound, a lonely fisherman sat. traveler said. You sailed in here. Where's your boat? Friend, you need a boat. Go see the builder in the caves. Tell them I'm sorry I never came back. The stranger had blazed their own path. Created their own rock, their own islands. They did not need Ember's kindness. But still, Ember stayed. Building a bridge should it ever be needed. The stranger met Ember's eyes. The two shared a moment of silence. The stranger met Ember's eyes. The two shared a moment of silence. The Ember was curious. Where did you wake? I'm headed for the crossroads. I've heard there's a nest there, a safe place. The stranger was trapped, caught in a maze. It was hard to make sense of this place. The stranger was trapped, caught in a maze. It was hard to make sense of this place. trail just kept on closing. The stranger's voice was hoarse. I just need some time, I think, to see things clearly. The stranger's voice was hoarse. I just need some time, I think, to see things clearly. The fisherman murmured quietly between sorrowful breaths. The fisherman murmured quietly between sorrowful breaths. The fisherman felt so useless. His former joys were hollow. Sitting out there every day by the pond, only the dark water to hear him talk. In that darkness, a glimmer flickered. A thought beating like a drum. A thought that went round and round. It all started with a frog. Every day by the pond, a constant reminder. For a brief moment, the fisherman struggled to speak. He looked at Ember, hopeful. The fisherman spoke softly. "There's a frog in that pond, a big one. Saw him grow from a tadpole. We were friends of a sort. Spent every day side by side. So much better at fishing than me, that frog is. Catches them before I can bait them. It makes me feel useless some days." The fisherman sighed. "I've wasted so much time feeling like this." The old man looked carefully at the pond, at their rod, at Ember. "Well, listen to me here rambling on and on. It helps though, telling someone. Thank you, Ember. If you need help catching anything, you just ask." "You saw the frog? You ask the frog about me, see what they say. Actually, no, just please don't tell the frog how much I talk about them. Poor little worms. But how do you fish without them? One for me, one for the fishes. Slurp 'em down." They say catching a fish isn't the point. So I tell myself that. I tell myself that a lot. I chased old Blue Betty round this pond for years. Best days of my life catching that fish. Had to use myself as bait. Stuck on me head ever since. If you need help catching anything, you just ask. If you need help catching anything, you just ask. The frog stared at Ember, its belly rumbling. Its eyes were fixed on Ember, but it seemed to mean no harm. Was this the frog that the fisherman spoke of? Ember could hardly ignore the rumbling from the frog's belly. The frog stared at Ember, its belly rumbling. The ghost said, "Speak and I will listen." Take the path east of here, gaze into the pond. The frog knows of a lost forlorn. The travellers, I miss a good roast frog. Oh, how they crackle. The traveller said, Friend, you need go see the builder in the caves. Tell them I'm sorry I never came back. The ember was, I'm headed for the, I've heard there's a nest there, a safe place. If you need help catching anything, you just ask. The frog stared at Ember, its belly rumbling. Its eyes were... Was this the frog? That Ember could hardly ignore the rumbling from the frog's belly. If you need help catching anything, you just ask. The stranger said thoughtfully, "I felt so alone. I was so lost." The door was sealed shut. The stranger whispered, "Be kind to yourself." The stranger said, "Take care of those you care about." The stranger thought, "I feel ready to move on." The old gate was locked. The crow held its shining trophy tight. The cave entrance was overgrown with dry brambles. The stranger would, "I've never felt that. What does it feel like? Is it nice? It sounds nice." The worm looked. As Ember picked it up, the worm let out a little yelp. key was nestled between the reeds. But it was just out of reach. The frog stared at Embo, its belly rumbling. This was not how Embo had imagined the end. The gurgling of water, a deafening heartbeat. But then... the fog returned Embo's good deed by leading them to a lost forlorn. The stranger stood alone. Their friends have fallen aside, retreating from what came next. The stranger had ventured on. Now they were deep in the woods. It felt so pointless. The stranger spoke hesitantly. "Is the campfire crowded? Let me gather myself. I'll see you there." The stranger spoke. "There's a cook in the swamp. Keep telling them that it doesn't taste right. They'll keep giving you more." Inside was a scrap of journal. "The strangers on the water went on without me. Where have I landed? Vines and thorns stretch out to trip me. If you need help catching anything, you just ask." The ghost said, "Speak and I will listen." West of here, a cruel stone compound, locked away without a key, an ember turned forlorn. The Wanderer's Diary. Unfamiliar trees, a path overgrown. Is this a resting place? A place between places? I call out, but mine is the only voice. The old gate was locked. The broken net hung ominously around the skeleton's neck. The stranger shivered in the cold. They'd moved through such dark places. They lay down and closed their eyes. Warmth was a distant memory, stolen by the passing miles. The stranger blinked at Ember. Is it morning already? How long have I been asleep? The stranger blinked at Ember. Is it morning already? How long have I been asleep? Ember found the Wanderer's diary. The oily smell of frogs. They know more than they will say. They watch me watching them. The key was nestled between, but it was just out of reach. The key was nestled, but it was just out of reach. The ghost said, "Speak, and I will listen. The path ahead lies behind. Know that if you return, you will always be welcome. Warm yourself, little one. Time is to be savored." The ghost said, "Speak, and I will listen. West of here, a cruel stone compound, locked away without a key, and Ember turned forlorn. The path was blocked. The fox's the only reply was silence. The fisherman noticed the broken net Ember was carrying. "Let me have a look. See what I can do." With a silk thread, with each knot he tied. And here you go. Good as new. The key was nest, but it was just out of reach. The old gate was locked. Ember placed the key in the lock and slowly began to turn it. stranger gasped for breath. Dark water slipping above their head. The sea didn't care if they sank or swam. Slowly the tides ebbed, washing over old walls. Safe harbor emerging from the inky depths. Ember reached out a hand. The stranger looked down. The ground feels good beneath my feet, friend. The ghost said, "You have done all you, little one. Your journey ahead will not the path to. I will guide others to follow after you clear the way." There are others like me who can help. You will always be welcome here in the forest. Once again, Ember could feel eyes watching. Ember approached the forlorn, but felt it was different. They said, "I know what I need to do. I don't want to be helped." Ember could not help. Not all problems were puzzles to be solved. Ember approached the forlorn. They said, I don't... Ember could not help. Not all problems were puzzles to be solved. Ember uncovered a journal entry. Dusk brings the longest shadows. The lanthorn comforts me. Soft melodies from home. The wild things listen. Yellow eyes in grey. Two travelers were talking. Yeah, I got so lost. I go anywhere else. Yeah, never. The birds scare me though. Do you know where we are? I've been walking forever, lost in the marsh. The crossroads gate was locked. The guard joked. Another scrawny Ember from the forest. And with a bag licking on, both guards started looking at Ember with a death. The guard leered. Yes, come a little closer. Let us see what's in that. We guard the door to the Forest King. Oh yes, we decide who gets to see the king. The Forest King. Yes, come this way. A feeling of foreboding overcame Ember. Ember was terrified but tried not to show it. The giant bird spoke softly. Another little Ember. Speak, little one. Do not fear. The bird is a friend. Ember wanted to feel safe. Oh, little Ember, birds won't hurt you. Birds will take another under our wing. Stay safe in the nest, you'll never turn forlorn. Ember was still afraid. Is it the night that scares you, little one? Night is gone. Day is here. Birds will make the world less frightening. It wasn't only the night that frightened Ember. The bird was disappointed. Stay. Hope is false. Hope hurts little ones in the end. The Forest Kings, perhaps they could rest here. It was hard to know what else to say. Clever little, you will stay. Search for hope no more. Now take this feather. Feather means Ember is one of us now. Birds keep little ones safe. Birds should never leave the nest. The guard seemed pleased. clever Scruff sticking with. I can hold that bag for you. Leave him alone. They're one of us now. Yeah, one of us. And we all shares bags and things. The stranger wanted Ember's attention. Being careful, you should get away from here while you can't trust the bird. I've heard there's another campfire in the marsh. Well, that's where I'm going if I can find a way down. The travelers had disappeared. Their campfire remained. The bear tracks lay in the cinders. The guard squawked. Stand back, don't come any closer. Nothing down there but sadness. Go see the Forest King. He'll set you straight. Got your first feather, I see. Best prove yourself, Scruff. Stand watch here. Promise you won't let anyone pass. The stranger leaned in. But friend, those birds are really just embers, dressed up. Ember didn't like deceiving the birds. But what choice did they have? They couldn't rest in that place forever. They had to keep going. This forlorn was not the same as the others. The forlorn whispered softly, I may never be ready. The future is yours, stranger, but mine is mine. Ember left the forlorn with their thoughts. The time wasn't right, perhaps would never be. Ember hurried away from the birds. The mist hung close to Ember, hiding them. The Forest King seemed frightened, the birds cruel. Ember would rather risk turning forlorn than become like them. Ahead there would be others to help, and maybe a way to move on. The traveler seemed distressed. But it's been a while. It's my fault. The traveler whispered quietly, no matter where I go, always here. Hidden away was a scrap of journal. There were memories here, bound in rock. I hear their voices echo in the ancient stone. I find footprints by the cinders, a makeshift camp. It looked like a map, but pieces were missing. The piece formed a new route. It was the same place as before. But how? In a haze, they going round, never escaping. An eerie scene, like a moment frozen in time. Ember found a scrap of journal. I heard them coming. The snap of a twig, a flutter of birds. A figure dashing through the undergrowth. Another like me? Gradually, more of the map was revealed. A section of bridge had somehow been ripped from its foundations. It was like the map had been broken on purpose. The mist revealed a secret place. Was it hidden on purpose? The strangers, I said something, and now I'm lost. And it's too late. skeleton looked peaceful. Held tightly in its hand was a red feather. The skeleton looked held tightly in its hand was a red feather. The statue spoke, just as it once. The instrument you now hold, another before you, took great effort to hide it deep within this riddle. The lanthorn began to glow. Hidden inside was the wanderer's journal. Another face at last, a catcher of fish resting by a pond. We work together, silk and tar and aching fingers. My boat floats once more, though I almost wish to stay. Inside was a secret diary entry. Pink, orange, red, brown, leaves gently dancing to the ground. Crunch, crackle, lovely sound, fall into a giant mound. There was one last place to reach on the map. Ember felt a great relief to be out of the mist. Ember didn't mind getting muddy. The slide was such fun. A sleeping pig. They looked happy. The plant looked like it could take a hand, and it was in Ember's way. The fruit was giving off a sickly sweet smell. The plant looked like it could, and it was in Ember's way. The plant looked, and it was in Ember's way. Ember chuckled. The dangerous plant was no match for a hungry piggy. A hideous odor filled the air. And suddenly, the reason was obvious. A lost message was inside. The mist is thick. One way blurs into another. Where do I end? Where does the world begin? I cannot see far enough to tell. The pig inhaled a giant snort of air. Wait, what's that delicious smell? Ember shuffled nervously. Other embers fed me treats, but then stopped. You feed me now. As the pig chewed, a light grew in its belly. Fruity, fresh, but tastes a lot like mud. But what I want is something with more crunch. The pig would eat anything. Ember just needed to find more. And with each thing it ate, the light grew even brighter. Surprising, a little sparky. But what I want is something with more crunch. Perhaps if Ember could satisfy the pig, they might be more helpful. Ember found a secret note from the Wanderer. Something beckons. This place is not home. I trace the map in my head, recite the older myths. I have to move on. The skull was disgusting. Perhaps the pig would like it. This was the last thing Ember could find to offer. Crunchy, embery. Not much meat, but what I wanted. The pig's stomach made an almighty sound. Ember chuckled with relief at the large creature they had been so afraid of. Ember came upon another campfire lost in the wilderness. It looked, the ghost said, "Speak and I will listen." This is here hope was consumed before it could flourish. You must not lose hope, or you too will turn. Ember thought of those they loved, those they'd left behind. There are others, find them and I will guide them. Down steps to your east, travel the path south, watching a pig grow unhappy, a forlorn lost hope. The stranger had come so very far. They felt the air beneath them, the distance ever widening. It was such a long way down. A resolve stirred within the stranger. Just a few more steps. It can't be much further.